I am the problem in my life. What do I mean? Everything that I do, I face the consequences of. And I realized that today when I was going through a variety of things where I kept running into problems and realizing that the root cause of it was me. So, what exactly happened? Well, real quick, I'm Jonah Wilson. I'm 24. I'm the VP of Marketing at Convirza, and I document my journey from right now about 170K to 1 million and beyond in net worth because I want to share the lessons I learned with you. So, hopefully, one day in the future, this helps at least one other person out. Let's jump into it. I was in a situation today where there was constantly problems coming up from my team or agencies that we work with or someone else that I felt I needed to solve, and other people just weren't quite doing it. So let me go through a few examples. First off, we were looking at an ad and it wasn't performing well. And so I gave some advice, hey, let's change the creative this way, copy this way, make sure the targeting is here, and we went and did it and it started to improve. Great. Then the next thing happened. We were getting email campaigns. Generally, we get 1 to 2 leads a day, and we'd gotten 0 in a week. And I was wondering what is going on? We need to fix this. So I sat down, I read through the copy, and this is not going to work. I rewrote email 1, 2, 3. They redid it, and in the day 2 since then, we've started to get leads. Then social media strategy. We have somebody running it. I just felt it wasn't quite clicking, it wasn't working, so I sat with them for about an hour 15, went through a whole bunch, replanned some stuff, and all of a sudden it was running well and we were going in a better direction. Another thing happened. Okay, I've gone through 3. I can go through more. There's some stuff with SEO, there's some things with other outsourced agencies, and every single time I was realizing there's somebody doing something and I think that it can improve, and so I need to get in there and fix it. But then I realized if I'm doing this in every single aspect, it's important to do that. But that means that I'm the bottleneck, I'm the problem. And if I don't have a way where my team or people that I work with are able to take and learn those skills to problem solve themselves, I am going to be the bottleneck at some point. I can't have more than 24 hours. I can't do everything. There's days when I'm tired, when I'm not focused, and that's okay. I have to set up what I do, my business, in a way, and I say my business, my team, in a way where they can effectively problem solve and go through the best strategies, do everything to the best of their abilities, and then it can suffice to hit the goals where I don't need to come in over top and rewrite the email copy, then the ad copy and creative, and then the SEO changes because I can't possibly do every single thing. So, how did this help me reach my goal of 1 million in net worth, and how can this help you? Very often we realize that we are bottlenecks for things that we may or may not take notice that we are. And the reason it's so important to notice that is if you look at the biggest companies, the most successful people, they cannot possibly build everything they built on their own. If you look at Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, who recently passed, who built Berkshire Hathaway, one of the biggest companies ever, they individually cannot go and grow Coca-Cola and Geico and all the other companies they're involved in. They have to have superstars running it for them. And they have to have people under that and under that and under that because there are hundreds of thousands of people in these organizations. One person cannot do all that. They simply will not be able to. So it's not about how hard you can pull or how many times you can pull, but how much leverage you get each time you do, meaning how good is your team, how good are the people that you can hire. This is the biggest lesson I learned today, and I'm going to tackle a bit more about hiring and finding the right person tomorrow because that means a whole lot to finding the people, the superstars that we want. Thanks so much. How do you hire? How do you hire and find superstars in your business? This is exactly what I'm going to talk about today. Yesterday, I went realizing that I was the problem. I was the bottleneck for a lot of aspects of marketing. That I had to go in and do the email copy, the SEO, the ad creative, and I was drowning with how much I had to do. And I realized I'm being a bottleneck somehow. And ultimately, that became I didn't set clear enough expectations or have clear guidelines for people to go through the right steps, and also hiring. Maybe I needed to make sure I was looking for different attributes when I hired. Here's the lessons that I learned from that. Number one is you need to make sure you have open communication with your team so they can talk to you to problem solve, to work through things quickly. Because if you don't, then they're going to be stuck on something for a whole day, 2, 3, a week, and it's not moving forward at all. And all you needed was a 5 minute conversation to unlock a huge amount of doors. So they need to know that you trust them, they have the autonomy to do it, and that they can get the resource, the help when they need it. Next, how do you find these people? When it comes to hiring, tend to focus much more on the intelligence of somebody rather than their raw skill and experience. And that may be unpopular, but here's exactly why I do it. If I take somebody who knows a whole lot in a certain area, that's great, and they're going to be able to do well in that competency. However, almost inevitably in any business in life, you get a lot of things that come outside of that. And if they aren't able to adapt and be intelligent and problem solve in complex ways, complex problems, then you are constantly going to have bottlenecks that only somebody who goes in critical thinks, or in a lot of cases, you can solve. So it's much better to have somebody who can take feedback, learn from it, and change their behavior and improve much faster than somebody who's just skilled in one particular area, because over time, that person who takes a skill, learns it, adapts it, and can critically think to solve problems will give you so much mental space back while moving something forward far more than someone else. And the way that I'm able to test that when hiring is how quickly are they able to learn concepts. If I explain something or ask them to explain something, a way that they problem solved in the past, a certain situation, how they describe it tells you a whole lot about how they're going to approach whatever might come in your business. And you may know some of the things they'll face, but you don't know everything, so you have to gauge intelligence and their problem solving ability far more than just their skill, because if you base it only on skill, you're going to get a lot of people who you need to manage and direct all the time, and as it scales, you simply will not be able to sustain it. Lastly, is to do lots of volume. When I was looking to hire people, I interviewed as many people as I possibly could. And what this allowed me to do is see a huge variety of people, from good to bad to amazing. And then I was able to take the best of those and formulate who is the best person from an intelligence perspective. When I ask them about their goals and how it aligns with the role, who are the people who respond the best? And then later on, how well do those people do in the actual role? Because it might be great in the interview, it might not be great in the job. Maybe they're really good at interviews because they interview a whole lot and they don't keep jobs for very long. And the people who interview very poorly usually have a job, and this is their first time interviewing, but they're fantastic employees. They just didn't show as well in the interview. And it's never a perfect science, but the hires are such a big unlock. As we look at Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, they could not possibly run all the companies that they have. They have to have team members, and we often think we're superheroes, and you might have great qualities, but you cannot build Berkshire Hathaway with 1, 2 people, even 100. You need tens, hundreds of thousands. So this is my really brief guide to how I was able to hire people, and I still make mistakes all the time. I'm totally imperfect. And I'm going to keep learning and making these mistakes along the way. But hopefully this helps you understand a bit more of my process for hiring, and that could hopefully apply to you, what you do to make it a little bit better.